Hey everyone, happy Sunday. It's Sari from the Spiritual View. Welcome. It is, no, not October. It is November the 3rd. It is a Sunday, and welcome to the channel. There are seven wonderful souls who've come together in spirit of sharing their gifts. I am doing the daily content for Sunday, and today's theme is very interesting because I was guided in meditation this morning to talk about compassion. And I think this theme has been coming up for many of us as we have been navigating the recent new moon, and we talked about that on the live last Friday. Dawn gave a great overview of the new moon, and Elizabeth talked about how we can ground ourselves and protect our energy during this time of amazing but also rapid change and transition. So, without compassion, it's hard to do some of that. So I was led today to talk a little bit about the theme of compassion. I've pulled some cards just to keep the video as brief as I can because I know everyone's out and about on a Sunday. And I wanted just to introduce an experience that I've had when I first started meditating. And I was in corporate America. I couldn't even spell the word meditation. And if I sat down for more than a minute, I would be asleep. That's how, kind of fast paced I moved. And I didn't really know anything about the spiritual world. So once I left my job, I did all things spiritual and kind of went from one end to the other. And I'm so grateful for that. When I started meditating, I started having a lot of experiences, and I didn't really understand at the time what was happening. So I would get coaching from some of my spiritual guides and counselors, and they would give me information and context for what I was experiencing. And the first thing that happened around compassion is I started feeling, and when I am in a meditation, I actually see energy or I feel it as a color. And I started feeling the color blue all the time. And I would be surrounded by this amazing, just warm, compassionate energy. And I knew that it was a presence of someone, but I didn't know. Very feminine. I oftentimes would see roses in my mind. And so I asked, and someone said, "Oh, you're starting to connect with the energy of Mother Mary." And she is just very loving and compassionate. And oftentimes she will appear in meditations. Then the second thing happened not too long after that. I was meditating and I kept feeling or seeing this energy, very feminine, beautiful energy, very similar to Mother Mary, but it was kind of orangish pink. And for lack of a better word, I started calling her Gilda. And so when Gilda would show up, oftentimes Mother Mary would be there, but I would just be surrounded by this beautiful energy of compassion and love and mercy. And until my astrologer friend explained to me, she was on a Zoom with me, and she said, "Do you realize that you have an energy around you?" And I said, "Yeah, I call her Gilda." And she said, "That's Kuan Yin." And so I wanted to introduce to you, if you have not had experiences with Kuan Yin, she has very similar energy to Mother Mary, and she is the um, Asian or Eastern version of Mother Mary from an energetic standpoint, and she's called the goddess um, of compassion, healing, and mercy. And her name, Kuan Yin, actually comes from the word Sanskrit, and it's translated to born of the lotus. Oftentimes, people will see a lotus flower. When she's around, they might see the color kind of orange, pink, sometimes blue. And both the Indian and the Chinese actually claim her as their goddess of compassion, mercy, and healing. And so when you are in your meditations, you may call forth Kuan Yin or Mother Mary to help you to deal with issues that you have and to surround you with love and compassion and tenderness. I think we all need that right now. So I want to start out by reading you. I've got the Kuan Yin Oracle, and I pulled two cards. And if Dawn, if you're watching this, this came up in your video on Friday. And so the first card that I pulled is Dynasty of the Divine Mother. It says, "The only wish of the Divine Mother Goddess is that all beings be spiritually free. The Divine Goddess calls us to realize our true nature, to fall in love with our own divinity. Enlightenment is a culmination of many small steps, each one as a drop of water forming a divine ocean of peace. realization, love, and unity from within ourselves. An ocean that washes away all fear, all separation and scarcity, and bathes us in abundance and bliss. You carry the torch of enlightenment within you. Let it shine every day. And what a beautiful message. But the words here that um, they have, it says, sometimes we imagine enlightened beings to be another species to everyday humans. Yet there is an old Eastern saying that goes, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. And actually, Dawn talked about this, how important it is to be consistent with our routines and our spiritual practices of grounding, of meditation, of staying away from drama and chaos, in all this crazy energy that's going on. So again, I'm going to repeat that. An old Eastern saying that says, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. And it's the small things that we're doing every day, the habits, the intentions that we set for the new moon that just happened on the 1st, and letting go during the full moon of things that no longer serve us. So this is a card that Kuan Yin is basically telling us that we have the answers within us, and it's the small steps that we are taking on the path to our own ascension and enlightenment is what brings us fulfillment and success. And there's an aspect of that that says don't give up. And like many of you, some days I feel great about what's going on, and feel like I'm making progress, and other days I think, why am I doing this? And you want sometimes just to give up hope. And this card is telling us, just continue step by step, day by day, laying the bricks and building that foundation of your spiritual practice, your routines, your consistency. And this is going to allow you and all of us to have that tipping point where the energy of the of love is the predominant vibration on the planet, as opposed to fear, anger, and chaos. And this is what we're shifting right now in the energy. The second card I pulled for Kuan Yin's messages today is the Maiden Ma Gu. It's the goddess of spring, healing, and transformation, bringing you assistance now. You were asked to honor that light can come from even the darkest beginnings, beloved one. In fact, sometimes we need to enter into the unknown parts of ourselves to find exactly what we need to grow in peace, creative self-fulfillment, and happiness. The challenge can be to trust that we will arise from this darker place again. Just as the spring always follows the winter, so too will any inner work with the shadow precede a beautiful rebirth for you. And this is actually encouraging us that it's okay not to have all the answers figured out. And the fact that we all have the light and the dark within, and that if we have the courage to do the work and look at our shadow side and to look at those parts of us, maybe that we don't understand, maybe self-sabotage, or doing things out of obligation. That was one of my big ones. Or the family patterns of you're supposed to take care of everyone else to the exception of you, and everyone else matters before you. And I've since learned that is not true. So I think there's some messages that Kuan Yin and Mother Mary, from a compassion standpoint, are trying to give us. The answers actually lie within. And it's those small steps that we're taking every day that allow us to build that foundation for spiritual, what I call stability and awareness and awakening, and that don't lose hope and don't lose faith and continue to do the journey. And the second card really is around exploring and being brave enough to explore the darker side, the things that we know we need to bring forth into the light, so that we can transmute that energy. And if you are someone who's been afraid to look at it, that's okay. What Kuan Yin is saying is have compassion for yourself and be okay with looking both at the dark and the light. Bring the darkness out into the light and work to transmute what no longer serves you. So if you needed a nudge or a gentle reminder, Kuan Yin is actually saying, I am with you, and I will support you and comfort you like this beautiful warm blanket. I will not leave you. We also are asking for Archangel Michael to be here as well. I always ask for Archangel Michael to travel with me, to be with me constantly when I drive my car, when I'm going to the grocery store, in the house. And so Archangel Michael is also here to provide strength and protection. So please call on him when you need courage to look at the light and the dark. And it's actually okay because we are human, which means we have the light and the dark within. And part of having compassion is the ability to have compassion with our own self. Oftentimes, we can be compassionate with others to the exception of ourselves, very similar to self care. I also asked Spirit for some tarot cards and to give messages. And so the bottom of the deck, I pulled the Two of Cups. And the Two of Cups is a beautiful card that can relate to self-care. And so today I'm going to say this is more about self-care and self-love and having compassion for yourself and your journey, to recognize that you are a human being. But you are a spiritual being having a human experience. So one thing that is essential, which is underlying the deck, is to have compassion and love for yourself, because that is the greatest love of all. And we've been told many years, or at least I have, that um, self-compassion and love for self was being selfish. And that is not true. So I asked Spirit, is there anything that, as we are looking at this ability to have compassion for ourselves and our journey and those around us who may be struggling, what are three messages of things that we either want to give up or pay attention to? The first one, the first card I got, and I'm using the Light Seers Tarot, love this deck, was the Eight of Pentacles. Now, there can be an aspect, sometimes you can be working too hard and you're not taking a breather and relaxing and surrendering to the journey. So there's something here about it's important to work, but not to overdo it. The second card was the Hangman. And if you look, she's almost touching the water and she's kind of in suspension and above the water. So this is a card oftentimes of contemplation, not necessarily meaning stuck. However, have you been working too hard, maybe at the shadow side? And for those of you who have been on the journey for a while and have been doing the work, I would do a lot of shadow work and then I would get triggered and I would think I was way beyond it, and then something would happen and boom, I'm back in the same place. So it might be that it's time to maybe take a breather and just to allow some compassion for yourself and your journey. And the last card I got was the Moon. And in this context, I love the Moon card. Oftentimes it's about things that we don't see or below the surface, but it can also relate to our fears. So is there a fear that has gotten in the way of your ability to look at yourself and others around you with compassion? And having compassion also means that we have to suspend judgment. And I know our world is chock full of people who want to point the finger, who are polarized, that want to, I guess, exercise judgment around them, and they're not willing to see their own shadow as well. So it forces us to be in a place of empathy, of love, of compassion, and to let go of judgment. And that is sometimes quite hard in our society today. I asked Spirit also, what do we want to invite in? And I got three very interesting cards here. I first got the Ten of Pentacles. So we want to invite in generosity, abundance. And again, this is as much a mindset as it is a tangible thing, because pentacles are what we manifest in the material world. And yes, this is around family, it's around being abundant, but this is also about how do we have abundance of compassion in our hearts and for our families. And many of the issues that many of you are having, as well as myself, is around compassion for family, especially those who've not chosen to go on the spiritual path. And how do you speak and relate to them when you are moving in a different place and space energetically, and they're not able to hear you and they judge you? It's a hard place to be. The second card I pulled was the Eight of Cups, and this is moving on, and this is typically relating to moving on either from old ways of loving, old ways of expressing love, and that there's a higher order. So many of us are experiencing this rebirth, if you will, of moving on and opening the door to new relationships of our soul tribe, and prioritizing self-love, self-care, and compassion for ourselves and others. And in some cases, that might mean exiting a relationship. And the last that I got for what we're inviting in from an energy standpoint is a King of Wands. Now, for some of you might be actually manifesting a King of Wands coming in, but this is a beautiful energy of passion, leadership. It's typically an energy of maturity, of success, but passion and going after what you want and not letting anything stop you. That's the energy that we're inviting in. And Spirit's last message, the last recommendation around this theme of compassion: go after what you want, the Page of Wands, travel the world, learn a new skill, but do something that brings you joy to your heart. The Two of Swords, this is a watch out. So oftentimes this is a card of observation, but sometimes it's I'm hesitating to make a decision. So Spirit is basically saying, go after your passion and your dreams, but be thoughtful as you were going down this path, as you look at the road ahead. Are you acting with compassion towards yourself? Are you acting with compassion towards others? And the last message is the King of Pentacles. We got two kings today, and so some very strong energy coming through. And this is a beautiful energy of abundance, of success, of stability. And so this is what we are, what Spirit is telling us is on our path. But again, underlying the deck is a Two of Cups with the message, please take care of you. Please be okay that you are human and you are consisting of the light and the dark. And it's okay to look at the shadow and to discover what no longer serves you, which might had served you for many years, and it no longer resonates for you. And it's okay to look at that dark side, the shadow side. It's okay to let things go and to go after what we want. And the Eight of Cups is that beautiful card, and moving on to matters of the heart and relationships that flourish, that are the vibrational match, that where we are headed and where we're going. So those are the messages for today. And again, it's going to be an interesting week. So I would ask you just to hold the space of compassion, the energy of Kuan Yin and Mother Mary, and to hold that space for those around us who might not be awakened, might be confused and having struggles, and also having compassion for ourselves and not to judge ourselves too harshly and judge those around us. Again, it's going to be an interesting week with the elections, and so this is a message hopefully that you can remind yourself, or when you're out, think of Kuan Yin, ask for her support and loving guidance, as well as Mother Mary, and ask Archangel Michael to be around you to give you strength and protection for the days ahead. If you like our channel, please like, subscribe, and share. Please make comments of any kind of content that you would like. We'll be back here Monday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will do a live, and we will be pulling cards tomorrow. And I wish everyone a happy and healthy Sunday. And remember, have compassion for you. Be okay with the light and the dark, and know that Spirit's got your back. And the beautiful, beautiful energy of Mother Mary and Kuan Yin is all around you, supporting, guiding, and loving you. Happy Sunday, okay?